There's a space in front of you right now, a space only you can fill. But here's the truth. If you don't step into it, someone else will. And she'll notice, she'll feel it, she'll respond to it. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to share, most men will never hear, and you need to understand this deeply. Leadership isn't optional. Not in your life, not in your relationships, not in how women see you. It's the default setting, the one you were built for. But somewhere along the way, you were told to wait, to ask permission, to let things unfold naturally. And that cost you. It cost you her respect. It cost you her attraction. It cost you the relationship itself. Because nature doesn't wait. She doesn't pause. She doesn't give you time to figure it out. If you're not leading, she's looking for someone who is. Not because she's cruel, not because she's shallow, but because it's wired into her deeply, psychologically, biologically. Women are attracted to direction, to certainty, to a man who knows where he's going and takes her with him. Not because he's controlling, but because he's clear. He doesn't need her approval. He doesn't need her validation. He moves forward, and she feels safe in that. She feels drawn to that. She feels something she can't explain, but you can feel it too. That tension when you hesitate, that shift when you ask too many questions, that distance when you wait for her to decide. You think you're being respectful. You think you're being considerate, and maybe you are, but you're also disappearing, fading into the background, becoming another option instead of the choice. Leadership doesn't mean dominance. It doesn't mean force. It doesn't mean ignoring her needs. It means you have a frame, a direction, a vision for your life, and you're not apologizing for it. You're not negotiating it away. You're not shrinking it down to make someone else comfortable. Because the moment you do, you lose yourself and she loses interest. Not because she wanted you to fail, but because she needed you to stand firm. She needed to feel your backbone, your resolve, your unwillingness to bend just to keep the peace. Think about the last time you delayed a decision, hoping she'd give you a sign, hoping she'd make it easier, hoping she'd tell you what she wanted. And what happened? She pulled back. She became cold. She started testing you, not to hurt you, but to see if you were real, if you were solid, if you could handle her, handle life, handle pressure without collapsing inward. And if you couldn't, she'd find someone who could, not out of malice, but out of instinct. Because women don't want to lead, not in the way you think. They want a partner, but they need a leader. Someone who can hold the weight, someone who doesn't crumble, someone who doesn't need constant reassurance. That's not coldness. That's nature. And you can fight it or you can accept it and step into the role. You were designed for this. Your ancestors led, they made decisions, they took risks, they moved forward even when it was uncertain, even when it was uncomfortable, even when they didn't have all the answers, because waiting isn't leadership. Hesitation isn't strength. And she can feel the difference between a man who's unsure and a man who's committed to his path, to his purpose, to his word. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. But you do need to move. You do need to choose. You do need to lead, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because that's when it matters most. That's when she's watching. That's when she's deciding if you're the man she thought you were or just another guy who talks a good game but folds under pressure. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about controlling her. It's not about making her submissive. It's not about power games. It's about you owning your life, owning your decisions, owning your direction, and inviting her into that. Not begging, not convincing, not negotiating. Inviting from a place of strength, from a place of clarity, from a place of self-respect. Because if you don't respect yourself, she won't either. If you don't value your time, she won't either. If you don't protect your boundaries, she won't either. She'll push, she'll test, she'll see how far you'll bend. And if you bend too far, she's done. Not because she's heartless, but because she can't respect a man who doesn't respect himself. That's the uncomfortable truth, the one no one wants to say. But you need to hear it. You need to feel it. You need to let it sink in, because once you understand this, everything changes. Your relationships change. Your confidence changes. Your entire energy changes. You stop seeking approval. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping she'll make it easy, and you start leading. Not from ego, not from fear, but from purpose, from knowing who you are and what you stand for. And that changes everything. She feels it immediately. The shift in your energy, the shift in your presence, the shift in how you show up. You're not chasing anymore. You're not performing anymore. You're just there, solid, grounded, unmovable. And that's magnetic. That's attractive. That's what she's been looking for all along. Not a perfect man, not a flawless man, but a real man who knows himself, who trusts himself, who leads himself before he leads anyone else. Because you can't lead her if you can't lead yourself. You can't give her direction if you don't have your own. You can't make her feel safe if you don't feel secure in who you are, in what you're building, in where you're going. And if you're not clear on that, she'll find someone who is not because she's disloyal, but because she's human. And humans gravitate toward strength, toward certainty, toward leadership. It's not conscious. It's not calculated. It's instinct. And you can resent that. Or you can use it to become the man you're meant to be, the man you've always known you could be. But maybe you've been holding back, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right woman, waiting for the right circumstances. But the right moment is now. The right woman is the one in front of you, or the one you're becoming ready for. And the right circumstances are the ones you create by leading, by choosing, by moving forward. Even when it's scary, even when it's lonely, even when you're not sure. Because leadership isn't about certainty. It's about commitment to your path, to your growth, to your purpose. And when you commit to that, everything else falls into place. She either rises with you or she falls away. And both are okay because you're not leading for her. You're leading for you. And the right woman will recognize that. She'll respect it. She'll be drawn to it because she's not looking for a follower. She's looking for a leader, someone she can trust, someone she can lean on, someone who won't crumble when life gets hard, when things get uncertain, when the pressure builds. And if you can't be that, someone else will. That's not a threat. That's reality. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner you can change it by becoming the man who doesn't need to be replaced because he's already leading, already choosing, already moving forward, with or without her approval, with or without her validation, with or without her permission, because he doesn't need it. He has his own. And that's the difference between a boy and a man, between a follower and a leader, between someone she tolerates and someone she can't stop thinking about. You have that power right now. You've always had it, but maybe you forgot. Maybe you were told to suppress it. Maybe you were shamed for it. But it's still there waiting for you to reclaim it, to embody it, to live it. Not for her, for you. Because when you lead yourself, you stop needing her to complete you. You stop needing her to validate you. You stop needing her to save you. And that's when she wants you most. Not when you're chasing, not when you're begging, not when you're bending, but when you're standing firm, clear, unmoved by her moods, by her tests, by her doubts, because you know who you are, and you're not negotiating that for anyone. That's leadership. That's masculine energy. That's what she's craving. Even if she doesn't say it, even if she fights it, even if she tests you harder, she's looking for you to hold, to stay solid, to not waver. And if you do, she'll follow. Not because she's weak, but because she trusts you to lead her somewhere worth going, to protect what matters, to build something real. And if you can't, she'll find someone who can, not to hurt you, but to survive, to thrive, to feel what she needs to feel with a man who can give it to her. So the question is simple. Are you that man, or are you waiting to become him? Because the clock is ticking. Life doesn't pause. She doesn't pause. And neither should you. Step into your role. Own your decisions. Lead your life. And watch how everything shifts. How she shifts. How you shift. How the entire dynamic transforms because you're no longer asking, you're no longer waiting, you're no longer hoping, you're leading, and that changes everything. If this hit you, if you felt that shift, subscribe now because this is just the beginning and you need to hear the